Cost of 5 oranges is 50 rupees. This is what the shopkeeper says. But Ramya want to purchase 12 oranges. Now, what is the cost of these 12 oranges, children? Do you know how to calculate this? Yes. So, in this topic, that is ratios and applications, we are going to learn how to find solution to such problems. So, children, at the end of this session, you will learn ratio, proportion, unitary method, and also you learn about percentages. Now, look at this figure shown on your screen. It is a rectangle, right? It is divided into 4 equal parts. You can see this is the first one, second part, third part, and the fourth part. Now, what do you notice? Yes, 2 of the parts are filled with color. Children, can you tell me what is the fractional form of this? Yes, we represent this as 2 by 4. Now, children, let us draw another line such that now it is divided into 8 equal parts. Now, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So, out of these 8, how many are shaded, children? Yes, 4 parts are shaded and 4 are unshaded. Now, can you tell me, children, what is the fractional form of this? That is right, it is 4 by 8. Now, children, here the portion or the area which is shaded remains same. If you notice, here also the same part, here also the same part. If you notice, this part and this part are equal in area. That means, we have shaded same area. But children, what is the ratio form of 2 by 4? Yes, it is 2:4. And what about 4 by 8, children? That is right, it is 4:8. Now, these two ratios, that is 2:4 and 4:8, are said to be in proportion. Why, children? Why they are said to be in proportion? Because these two ratios represent the same. Here you can see the area which I have shaded. Here 2 equal parts and here 4 equal parts, both are same in area. So, they represent same ratio. Now, how to define this proportion? Yes, 2 ratios are said to be in proportion when they are equal. That means, if we have 2 ratios, A is to B and C is to B, and both are equal, then we write A is to B equal to C is to D, or we can write it as A is to B, and there are 2 columns here. If you notice, there are 2 columns, C is to D. Now, these 2 columns is the symbol for proportion. And how do you read this, children? Yes, A is to B is as C is to D, or A is to B proportional to C is to D. Children, I think you might have understood the concept very well, right, about proportion. So, the 4 quantities A, B, C and D are called first, second, third and fourth terms respectively. Now, let us see the applications of this proportion in our daily life. Yes, children, you might have seen your mom cooking in the kitchen, right? Yes. Now, suppose to prepare soup for 2 persons, you need 1 packet of soup, right. Now, suppose if there are 6 persons, how many such packets are required? That is right, you need 6 packets. That means, these are an examples of proportion. Not only this, children, let us move on to our another example. Wow, you can see a lion here, a photo of a lion. In the first image, if you notice, here it is a very small image, size 2 centimeters and 2 centimeters, right. We call it as a 2 by 2 centimeters. Okay. Now, I am enlarging this image. What do you mean by enlarging? Yes, I am increasing the size of the photograph. Now, does they look same? Absolutely, they look same. So, this is also an example of proportion in our daily life. Not only these children, you might have seen yourself and say your passport size photograph, right. You generally fix that for passport size photograph, maybe for your bus pass or maybe your student ID card, whatever it is, that looks same as what you are, right. So, those are the real life examples of proportion in our daily life. Okay, children, I hope you understand this concept of proportion very much clearly. Let us move on to our next concept.
Very good. What is this? Kettle. Kettle lo మొదటి అక్షరము
that looks same as what you are, right. So, those are the real life examples of proportion in our daily life. Okay, children, I hope you understand this concept of proportion very much clearly. Let us move on to our next concept. Now, consider the ratio A is to B equal to C is to D. That means, I can write A by B equal to C by D. Now, on cross multiplication, what do you get, children? Yes, A into D is equal to B into C. Now, here B and C are called means. Now, what about A and D? Yes, they are called extremes. That means, if you notice A into D, that is product of extremes, and B and C is product of means. Hence, whenever four quantities are in proportion, we can say product of means is equal to product of extremes. Now, let us consider A is to B equal to C is to D, which implies I can write A by B is equal to C by D. From this, what is the value of D? Yes, it is B into C divided by A. Now, this D is called the fourth proportional. Children, I hope you have learned the concept of proportion. Now, let us learn some other concepts also related to proportion. Okay? Let us see a scenario. Look at this shop, children. Here is the shopkeeper. He is selling some oranges. Ramya has come to shop these oranges. Shopkeeper says the cost of 5 oranges is 50 rupees. Now, Ramya wants to purchase 12 oranges. Now, what is the cost of these 12 oranges? Do you know, children, how to find the cost of these 12 oranges? So, what is the cost of 5 oranges, children? Yes, it is 50 rupees. Now, we do not know the cost of 12 oranges. So, what we are doing, children? We are assuming the cost as x rupees. Now, what is the ratio of oranges there? Yes, 5 is to 12. Then, let us find out the ratio of their cost. So, for the first one it is 50 rupees. What about the second one? It is x rupees. So, 50 is to x. So, here the number of oranges and its cost both are in proportion. So, that is why we write 5 is to 12 is equal to 50 is to x. Then, what do you write, children? Since they are in proportion, product of means is equal to the product of their extremes. So, here what are the means and extremes? 5 and x are extremes and 12 and 50 are means. So, 5 into x equal to 50 into 12. Now, what is the value of x, children? Yes, x is 50 into 12 by 5. Now, let us simplify this. Now, 5 goes 1 time and in 50 it goes 10 times. So, what is left now? 10 into 12. Now, what is the value of 10 into 12, children? That is right, it is 120. Therefore, we can say the cost of 12 oranges is 120 rupees. I hope you have understood the concept and also you have learned how to solve such type of word problems, children. Okay. So, let us solve the same problem using this unitary method. So, what is the cost of 5 oranges, children? 50 rupees. Now, we will find out the cost of 1 orange. Suppose if you have purchased 10 chocolates per 50 rupees. What is the cost of one chocolate, children? Yes, 50 by 10. So, we get it as 5 rupees per one chocolate. Here also we are going to find out the cost of one orange. So, what is the cost of one orange, children? Yes, that is 50 by 5 rupees. So, what do you get now? Yes, we get 10 rupees. That means cost of one orange is 10 rupees. Now, since cost of one orange is 10 rupees, what will be the cost of 12 oranges? Yes, it is again 12 into 10 rupees, that is cost into the number of oranges. Okay? So, here number of oranges are 12 and cost per orange is 10. So, 12 into 10 rupees, which is 120 rupees. So, children, what is the cost of 12 oranges now? 120 rupees. So, this method of solving the problem, we call it as unitary method. Why we call it as a unitary method? Here in this case, that is in unitary method, we will find out the cost of unit item, that is one single item. Like here the cost of 5 oranges are given, but we are calculating the cost of one orange. So, we are calculating the price of unit item. So, that is why this is called as unitary method. Children, let us learn one more important concept. Before that, we will take an example. So, here distance travelled and time taken. Suppose you are travelling by a car. Yes, when you are travelling in a car, the more you travel the distance, the time taken will be more. Like for example, you are travelling for 50 kilometers. So, you are taking 1 hour. Now, to travel 150 kilometers, how much time you will take, children? Yes, you will take 3 hours. That means, as the distance is increasing, even the time taken also increases. So, I can say as the distance travelled increases, then the time taken also increases. So, let us take another example. So, the number of item purchased and the total cost. So, 5 apples cost 100 rupees. Now, children, what is the cost of 11 apples? Yes, it is 220 rupees. Now, what do you notice, children, here? As the number of apples are increasing, the total cost of the apples also increases. That means, when one quantity is increasing, the other quantity is also increasing. Children, let us take another example. So, number of students and the number of eggs they consume. Say 30 students are there in a class. So, how many eggs they are going to consume? If you consider 1 egg per child, yes, they consume 30 eggs. Suppose in the next class there are only 20 members, 20 students are there in the class. Now, in such cases, how many eggs are consumed? Yes, only 20 eggs are consumed. So, children, here what do you notice? As the number of students are decreasing, the number of eggs consumed also decreasing. So, as the distance increases, time taken is also increasing, number of apples purchased increases, total cost also increases, and number of students decreases, then the number of eggs also decreases. So, these are all the examples of direct proportion. Now, let us see what is direct proportion. If one quantity increases, then the other also increases and vice versa. Then the two quantities are said to be in proportion. Now, what exactly it means? When one quantity is increasing, the other quantity is also increasing. Like the distance is increasing, then the time taken is also increasing. Now, when one quantity is decreasing, that is the number of students are decreasing, then the quantity of eggs consumed is also decreasing. Such things are said to be in direct proportion. So, children, let us take an example to understand the concept of direct proportion clearly. So, 25 kg of rice is needed for a family of 5 members. How many kg of rice will be required if the number of members in the house increases to 12? As number of members increases, amount of rice also increases. Am I right, children? Suppose in your family, say there are 4 members, in your family there are 4 members, say you consume 1 kg of rice. Suppose if some guests have come to your house, say 4 more members have come to your house, then how much kg of rice is needed? Yes, you need 2 kg of rice. That means, as the members are increasing, then the quantity of rice also increasing. So, let the amount of rice required for 12 members be x. Since we do not know that quantity, we are assuming it as x. Now, what is the ratio of rice consumed now? 25 is to x. Now, what is the ratio of family members? Previously there are 5, now increased to 12. So, it is 5 is to 12. Now, this ratio of rice and the ratio of family members are in direct proportion. So, 25 is to x is equal to 5 is to 12. So, children, when the 4 quantities are in proportion, what we have learnt? Yes, product of means is equal to product of extremes. That means, x into 5, that is means, equal to 25 into 12, that is product of extremes. What is the value of x, children? Yes, x equal to 25 into 12 divided by 5. 5 goes 1 time and in 25 it goes 5 times. So, what is left, children? 5 into 12. What is 5 into 12? Yes, 60. That means, how much quantity of rice is required, children? Yes, we need 60 kg of rice. Okay, children. We will learn another important concept, that is about percentages. Okay? Let us see. Can you identify the symbol shown here? Yes, that represent percent symbol. So, what do you mean by percent? Percent means per every 100 or for 100. Now, let us take an example. Suresh got 87% of marks in mathematics exam. Now, what do you mean by this, children? It means Suresh got 87 marks out of 100 marks. So, that is the meaning of 87%. Now, let us see the applications of these percentages in our daily life. So, you might have seen the discount sales in different shops during the festival seasons, right? They say 50% discount, 25% discount, 10% discount, all these things. So, we use percentage over there. Not only that, banks offer loan at certain rate of interest, that is 10.99% or 10% or 15%, so on. So, these are all the applications of percentages in our daily life. Now, let us solve a problem to understand the percentage concept clearly. So, Lakshmi's monthly income is 30,000 rupees. She spends 50% of it on family expenses, 20% on car loan, 5% on medical expenses and saves by 25%. Find the amount she spends on each item. So, children, here the monthly income is how much? 30,000 rupees. Now, she is spending 50% of it on family expenses. That means 50% of 30,000, which is 50 by 100. 50% means 50 by 100. So, 50 by 100 into 30,000. So, how much you get, children? Here this 100 goes in this how many times? 300 times. 300 into 50. So, you get 15,000. So, 15,000 rupees she spends on family expenses. What is the amount she spent on car loan? 20%. So, 20% of 30,000, that is 20 by 100 into again 30,000. So, here again on simplification you get 6,000 rupees. So, this 6,000 rupees is the amount she is spending on car loan per month. So, next on medical expenses she spends 5%, that is 5 by 100 into 30,000. Again on simplification you get this as 1500 rupees. Finally, we will take a look at her savings, that is 25% of her salary, that is 25% of 30,000, which is 25 by 100 into 30,000. On simplifying you get 7,500. Children, till now we have learned the concept of proportion, unitary method, percentages. Okay. Now, we are going to learn solving some problems which are based on these concepts. So, let us start with our problems now. A sum of 2,50,000 rupees is divided in the ratio 7:3 between Ajay and Vijay respectively. Find their shares. Let us start with the solution. So, what is the amount given? 2,50,000, and what is the ratio between Ajay and Vijay share? That is 7:3. Now, let us find the sum of the terms of the ratio, that is 7 and 3, which is 7 plus 3 equal to 10. Now, what is Ajay's share? 7 out of these 10 parts. So, that is 7 by 10 into 2,50,000. On simplification, you get 7 into 25,000, which is 1,75,000 rupees. So, what is Ajay's share, children? 1,75,000. Now, let us find out Vijay's share. So, Vijay's share is 3 out of 10 parts. So, 3 by 10 into 2,50,000. Again, on simplification, you get 3 into 25,000, which is 75,000. Hence, we can say Vijay's share is 75,000 rupees. Let us move on to our next problem. A medical camp consists of doctors and nurses in the ratio 3:5. If there are 9 doctors, find the number of nurses. And in this, the second bit is, if there are 20 nurses, then find the number of doctors. Let us start with the solution. So, what is given, children? The ratio of number of doctors to the number of nurses is given, that is 3:5. So, in the first case, we have seen the number of doctors are 9, whereas we have to find the number of nurses. So, we will assume it as x. Now, let us find the ratio of number of doctors and nurses, which is 9:x, and previously it is given as 3:5. So, these two ratios are in proportion, that means 3:5 equal to 9:x. So, since they are in proportion, I can say product of their means equal to product of their extremes. So, here what are the means? 5 and 9, extremes are 3 and x. Therefore, 9 into 5 is equal to 3 into x. Now, what is the value of x, children, here? Yes, 9 into 5 divided by 3. So, 3 goes 1 time in 3 and 3 times in 9. So, what is left now? 3 into 5. So, x is equal to 15. Hence, we can say that the number of nurses required are 15. So, this is the first part of the solution, children. This is the first part of the question, children. Now, let us solve the second part. So, number of nurses are 20, second case, and we are going to find the number of doctors. Let us assume it as y. So, ratio of number of doctors and nurses are y:20. So, again here 3:5 equal to y:20. Since again they are in proportion, product of means equal to product of extremes. That means 5 into y is equal to 3 into 20. Therefore, y is 3 into 20 divided by 5. 5 goes 1 time in 5, whereas 4 times in 20. So, what is left? 3 into 4, which is 12. So, therefore, we can say the number of doctors required are 12. So, let us move on to our next problem. So, a car travels 300 kilometers in 4 hours at a constant speed. How many hours will the car covers 675 kilometers? Let us start with the solution. So, here as the distance travelled increases, the time taken also increases. Hence, distance and time are said to be in direct proportion. We have already learned this, children. Okay? So, here let us assume the time taken by car to cover 675 kilometers as x hours. And what is given to us? Yes, we are given the distance is 300 kilometers, time taken is 4 hours. And when the distance is 675 kilometers, the time taken is x hours. So, let us find the ratio of distances equal to the ratio of time taken, that is 300 is to 675 equal to 4 is to x. So, here product of means equal to the product of extremes. So, x is equal to 4 into 675 by 300. On simplification, you get it as 9 hours. That means the car takes 9 hours to travel 675 kilometers. Let us move on to our next problem. The scale of a map is given as 1:50,000. Two villages are 5 centimeters apart on the map. Find the actual distance between them. Let us start with the solution. Let the actual distance be x kilometers, and we know that the distance on the map is directly proportional to the actual distance. So, given 1:50,000 is 5:x. Now, both are in direct proportion. That means 1:50,000 is equal to 5:x. So, product of means equal to the product of extremes, which means 1 into x must be equal to 50,000 into 5. So, what is the value of x, children? Yes, it is 2,50,000 centimeters. Now, let us convert this into meters. So, how many times it will go? 2,500. So, 2,500 meters is x value, but we will convert that into kilometers. So, we divide by 1000. On dividing it, how much do you get, children? Yes, 25 by 10, which is 2.5 kilometers. So, the actual distance between the two villages is 2.5 kilometers. So, children, we have learnt solving the problem using the concepts that we have learnt. Now, before we end our session, let us quickly recap what we have learnt. A ratio is an ordered comparison of two quantities. In the ratio A is to B, the first quantity A is called first term or antecedent, and second quantity B is called second term or consequent. If A is to B and C is to D are any two ratios such that A is to B is equal to C is to D, then we can say A, B, C and D are in proportion. If one quantity increases, then other also increases and vice versa. Then we say that the two quantities are in direct proportion. The word percent means per every 100 or for 100. Children, I will give you some problems as an assignment. Please try these problems and show to your teacher. Okay? Entrance fee for the Science Museum for 6 members is 120 rupees. Now, what is the entrance fee for 15 members? The next problem is, the cost of 3 kg onions is 150 rupees. What is the cost of 7 kg onions? 180 chocolates are divided between Arvind and Gopal in the ratio 5:4. Find the number of chocolates they get. The last problem is, the cost of 1 liter of oil was 80 rupees in the last year. This year, its cost increased to 120 rupees per liter. What is the percentage change in its price? So, children, with this, we will come to the end of our session. I hope you have understood the concepts very well. Okay then, goodbye and take care.